All right, Shalom. First off, all praises, admiration, honor, and glory goes to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushai, Bahashem, Kahakodash. And double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone. All right, first off, I want to say Shalom to the ones that push this word out in truth and sincerity, which are the apostles and elders on down to the brothers. And Shalom to the ones that endured his faith until the very end, until the time of Jacob's troubles, which are again the apostles and elders on down to the brothers and a few sisters. All right, so Shalom. So I want to do this, quick video, just pretty much on various things, right? But they're all pretty much the same. Uh, number one, man, a few things were pointed out. Uh, the elder did a video on, he's two, it's like a really young couple. Like, I think one's 12, one's like, they're like, I think one of them transitioned at like what 3 or 6 years old, around there, 5, right? Um, so the the male, the little boy turned into a girl, and the girl turned into a boy, and they got together. Um, I'm just going to jump straight to this scripture because this defines that entirely. This is Isaiah 29:16. It says, "Surely your turning of things upside down shall be esteemed as the potter's clay." Right? For shall the work say of him that made it. Right? So it says, "Surely your turning of things upside down shall be esteemed as the potter's clay." Right? And there's a lot of things, being turned upside down in this society. Right? There's things left and right that are just, something odd, right? This place is strange. This is like the back rooms but 2.0, right? That's why they put it in movies or games and stuff like that. You see strange anomalies and shit like that. Why they do that? Because this society is full of it, right? This place is full of demonic activity. And you're going to see a lot of people, as I'm noticing, even personally, I'm just noticing, man, people are getting worse and worse, man. They're waxing worse, right? And that's why we say, man, the water Yahweh Ba'ashim Yahushai, man, for giving us the light to see. Right. In fact, that's a prayer. That's also in the Passover. Right. Man, the water Yahweh Ba'ashim Yahushai for giving us the light to see, man, because we can actually look around and see, we're separate. Right. We can actually see the bullshit in this society. Right. That goes in whether your personal life or, actually going out there and teaching. Right? Because the Lord could have had us easily be and still can have us go back, you know, or go into the lifestyle of, these people out here. Right? So people are getting worse, man. And that I made a point um like a year ago. Um and I said, the Lord is sending the spirit of amplification, right? People who are, wise, they're starting to, people who have like a zeal, they're starting to get wiser. You know, people who are angry, they're starting to get more and more angry, right? That's what you call what do they call it? Crash outs, right? These people out here are crash outs. People who are stupid, right? They're starting to get even more stupid. They're getting dumb. People who are depressed are starting to get even more depressed. And sometimes depression can lead to either the right path, right? That could cause you to actually start wanting to know, right? To search. Or that could just lead you to the dumbass path where, you lose self esteem within yourself and you just start doing the dumbest things like these TikTok trends and shit. right? So again, the Lord is sending the spirit of amplification out here, man. It does, these people, the spirits are rising up, right? They're amplifying. So whatever trait that you have, man, it's starting to be amplified, and that's not exactly good unless it's the one where you have a zeal, like you're starting, you want to know, right? Because it's going to be a lot of people bugging the hell out as it is right now. People are just getting worse. You got Jake eating spice bowls, putting food in a on a lawnmower, eating it off of it in a toilet, off of out of a weave, out of a plunger. Like, people are losing their goddamn minds, right? People are really losing their minds. They've lost touch with reality, right? So another thing I wanted to go into, uh, the elder sister, here, the elder's, wife actually pointed this out, right? It was on the news. So in California, right, that's how you know this place is getting worse and worse and worse. And that's all through prophecies, man. That's all through the spirit and power of Yahweh by Shem Shai, right? So it said, in California, you notice how when things start in California, it's always going to travel. It goes from California to, I believe, automatically to New York to, I forgot where else, right? But it always starts in California and then it spreads. So in California, they're banning the sell by labels, right, on foods, on food products, where it says, sell by this date or sell by that date. So when you ban something like that, you are not going to know what the hell you're eating and how long it's been there. You're going to be going to the grocery store and casually buying moldy food, probably got worms and termites and maggots in it, or mold. You'll never know. That's what's that scripture? In fact, I might as well get it. Here it is. It's Ezekiel 4:13. It says, "And the Lord said, even thus shall the children of Israel eat their defiled bread among the Gentiles, whether I would drive them." Right? So we, as the children of Israel, man, this is part of our punishment. When we're in this society, we gotta eat our bread defiled, right? We gotta eat defiled foods. We gotta, and that don't even always go into food. That just goes into pretty much everything. That can go into job opportunity. That can go to, philosophy. That could go into, hell, the things you drink. That goes into pretty much everything, man. Everything that we gotta do is, it's defiled. That can even go into medicines. We a lot of Jake, in the truth, they push that, strictly herbs, which never avoid the herbs. But, you know, that don't mean, you just go strictly herbs, man. You sometimes you'll need, this man's medicine, right? Elder Apostle Tahar said, man, you're having a heart attack, man. Go to the goddamn hospital, right? Go to the hospital, right? I've recently seen him. He was checking his blood pressure, right? And he said, man, get one of these. Get one of those blood pressure monitors, right? This man in this society, he created it, but it's going to help you, right? For you to know. So it says that we got to eat our bread defiled amongst the heathens, right? So you're going to buy foods where you won't even know how long it's been there, right? Or if it's been taken home and then taken back and nobody, who knows what the hell happened to it. And that's bad enough. That could even happen today. You got people that's going to the grocery stores doing all kinds of nasty, raunchy, outlandish shit on the food. And then they leave it there for somebody to actually pick it up and eat it. This is the society that we live in, right? So this is Ezekiel 9:4. It says, "And the Lord said unto him, Go through the midst of the city, through the midst of Jerusalem, and set a mark upon the foreheads of the men that sigh and cry for all the abominations that be done in the midst thereof." Right? So the Lord said, man, go through the midst of the city, right? Go through the city of Jerusalem, right? And set a mark upon them that sigh and cry, right? That's the mark of exemption, right? Because there's a lot of people out here that are sighing and crying, right? You got the 1/3 and the 144,000, right? We're out here sighing and crying. And hell, you got 2/3 that are sighing and crying, but they're not in sincerity. They might sigh and cry and say all this shit's going on, but then they'll go right back to their wicked ways, right? And they still don't want this place to fall because they're stuck in that mindset that was beaten to them, right? But this place, man, you notice it's just unraveling, right? And it's starting to become strange, you know? And sometimes, like when we at camp, man, we see somebody that's like nearly 500 pounds walk by. We start laughing, man, but at the same time, this is a mental illness, right? For you to even be like that, just crazy shapes and sizes and stuff like that, man. This is really an outlandish place, right? It's getting strange. That's how you know, man, by the people. You know that a society is falling when you look at the people. And America is a big ass joke. So by the Lord's will, this lesson was edifying. I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashim Yahushai, Bahashem Rakah HaKadosh, and Shalom.